Welcome to Ground Control. I have, and I've taken it out of the package so I can show it to you. I have a product from CrossOver-RX, and this is the AR3207G -D, and the -D is for DSM2 DSMX. But it comes in several different protocols. I think all the major protocols are covered. You've got DSM2, you've got DSMX, you've got flysky, I think D8 and D16, you've got frsky, you've got FUTABA, I think they also have HOTT, H-O-T-T. So there are several different protocols or flavors of this receiver that you can get, and it's not just a receiver. This is a 7-channel receiver, and I'm just amazed at how much functionality they could put on one of these tiny little boards here. But it's a 7-channel receiver. You can get an optional configuration tool for it. You can download a utility so that you can fine-tune the gyro if you wish to do that. There are some functions that you need to use this for the GUI, and I think that the price on this configuration tool, which plugs into the USB port and plugs into the port back here on the back edge, opposite from where the antenna is located. So this will connect to the board and then connect to the USB port, and there's a utility that you can download on a Windows operating system to configure the gyro on this board. This was provided to Ground Control RC courtesy of CrossOver-RX. I'm going to thank them for sending it for review and also for sending the configuration utility. Okay, so it has a 3-axis gyro in it. It has a built-in 2S 7-amp brushless ESC, and you can use a 2S or a 3S LiPo with it. On 2S, it will provide you with 7 amps of power, and on the 3S, it will provide you with 5 amps of power. So you can use a 2S or a 3S LiPo with this board, but you do have differences in the power that it's going to provide. I plan on using this with a 2S power system. So 7 channels, and I know some people are confused because they think 7 channels means 7 ports. And although this has 7 ports that you can see on the board, 6 of these are for actual channels. And then you also have channel 5, which you use to configure the 3-axis gyro. And the 3-axis gyro has 3 modes. It has high sensitivity, it has low sensitivity, and then it has off for full manual mode. And I think that is the way I like to see a 3-axis gyro configuration on a 3-position switch. I like having full manual mode, even though, you know, I like having the gyro when I want to use it, but I also like having full manual mode. And so you've got the 3 different modes with this 3-axis gyro. So I like to see configurations like that. Okay, so the 7th port is in fact channel 5 for setting the gyro configuration, the gyro modes. And then you have your port on the front, which is for your brushless ESC, and it comes with a pigtail that will fit this larger header. Now this header I've just got pushed on here right now. I haven't soldered the header onto it yet. It comes with a larger header and a smaller header. So if you have, I guess, a cable that would fit this smaller 3-pin header, looks almost like one of the socket pins, servo sockets, then you could solder this onto the board. But the pigtail that they sent works with this larger header they sent. So I'm going to solder the larger header on the board. I'm going to use the pigtail they provided, and at the other end of the pigtail I'm going to solder on 2mm bullets to connect the brushless motor to. So you have 6 ports on this, including the port for the brushless motor. So you got a motor, you got aileron, you got elevator, you got rudder, and then you got aux1 and aux2. So if you want to use 2 independent aileron servos, if you want to use flaps with it. You could do that. So it's fantastic that a tiny little board like this is a 7-channel micro receiver configuration tool, so that you can configure the sensitivity of the gyro and things like whether it has a single motor or a dual motor, standard tail or a V-tail. So there's several things that you can change on the 3-axis gyro, but you will need the GUI and the configuration tool in order to do that, including the sensitivity. If you want to, you can change the sensitivity or the gains on the high rate and on the low rate. So very configurable as well. So the fact that it's a 7-channel micro receiver, has a built-in 3-axis gyro and a built-in brushless 2S 7 amp or 3S 5 amp brushless ESC is absolutely fantastic, guys. I love these little micro all-in-one boards like that for these micro projects because they're so light and so compact. All right, so I haven't decided yet what aircraft I'm going to put this board in. I've got a couple of candidates. I haven't decided yet which one I'm going to put it in, but the next part of this review will be the field test. So I will have it installed in an aircraft and we'll go out and we'll test it. But I wanted to give you some more information on this, okay? So the dimensions on this board, 24 millimeters by 16 millimeters by 6.5 millimeters. It is a tiny, tiny little board. The built-in DC step-down circuit enables 2S-3S LiPo. It weighs 1.85 grams, not including the antenna, but the antenna, I mean, what can that weigh? It can't even weigh, 0.1 grams, so less than 2 grams. This board weighs less than 2 grams. The built-in DC buck circuit, the voltage regulator on it provides 3.9 volts. So you're going to, as long as your servo can operate at 3.9 volts, most of these micro servos that I've seen can operate on anything from 3 to 3.5 volts. So the vast majority of micro servos out there are going to be able to operate on 3.9 volts, no problem. It supplies 2.8 amps of power. That really surprised me. I've seen a lot of standalone 12 amp, 20 amp, 30 amp brushless ESCs that do not provide 3 amps of power. Most of them are 1 amp, 2 amps of power. This provides 2.8 amps of power. So I think with this micro ESC, with micro servos attached to it, this micro board with servos attached to it, with that much amperage, 2.8 amps, I don't think with these little micro servos, I don't think you're going to have any problem running 6 servos off of this board if you choose to do so. So if you had 2 independent servos for ailerons, 2 independent servos for flaps, that's 4, and then 1 for elevator and rudder, that's 6. I don't think you're going to have any problem operating and supporting 6 servos off of that board at 2.8 amps. Okay, so let me see. It also provides telemetry on the protocols that support telemetry. So on DSM2, DSMX, telemetry is supported. I'm pretty sure that on flysky and frsky it is supported. I'm not sure about FUTABA. I'm not sure if that protocol supports telemetry or not. But if you look at the version of the board with that specific protocol, it'll tell you whether or not telemetry is supported for that protocol. All the sockets are the micro JST sockets, the 3-pin sockets, and they have 1 millimeter pitch on them, which means the center of the pins are offset from each other by 1.0 millimeters. Okay, and that's pretty common for these micro servo connectors. It supports online firmware upgrade, and like I said, it supports GUI settings for receiver gyro functions. So I want to thank them again for sending this for review. I provided links to their website to this particular product, to the configuration tool. All that information, links to all these products are in the show notes. So check them out, because if you're looking for a very small, compact, lightweight solution, and you want a gyro as well, this is definitely a good candidate to be looking at. But stay tuned, and then we'll take it out and test it in a plane. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the air.